churn is killing your recurring revenue faster than your competition, you fought really hard to get those customers and they're slipping away month after month after month, stick around because I'm going to show you the exact fixes to stop the leak. If you're new to this channel, I'm Ghiles and I've spent 15 years building and scaling products all around the world. And over the past years, I've helped 50 plus SaaS and service founders slash ching through their churn rate to get an extra 5 to 10 to 15,000 monthly recurring revenue. So if you want to lock in your customers instead of losing them, you're watching the right video. Let's go. So just to be clear, churn, if you've never heard that term before, if you're new in the business or the startup world, what does it mean? Churn is essentially the people who stop using your product and services. They just leave. So for example, if you have a subscription business and you have 100 clients, 100 people paying every month for your business, and then at the end of this month, 10 of them stop paying, they unsubscribe, that's your churn, okay? And so in my example, 100 clients, 10 stop paying, that's a 10% churn rate. So the churn rate is a percentage. That being said, why churn is really important to monitor and why it's important in impacting your business. Let's get back to my example. So you have a subscription business and you have, let's say, 5 or 10% of people stop paying for your business. Let's say we are in February. End of February, people stop renewing for the following month. So you might say, okay, that's just 10% who stop paying $100, right? But here's the thing, they're not paying for the third month $100, but they're also not paying for the next month and the month after that and the month after that and the month after that, a few months later. And so you losing potential money, not just for this month, but all the other months until the rest of the year. Imagine you have a business like where people stay very long time. So you losing all that opportunity of revenue. So it's not just $100, it's $100 multiplied by the number of months that the average customer would stay. So in our case, if you have a subscription business, 10 people are dropping, you're losing 10 months of potential income multiplied by 10 customers. So that's not $100. That's $1,000 every month for 10 months. That's $10,000 that you could have gotten with those customers. So this is the compound effect. So this is where churn is very dangerous because you might think, oh, it's just $100. No, it could compound to $10,000 with just 10 clients or just 5 or 10% of churn rate. That's why it's very important to monitor it and to prevent it from happening. So now that we've said that, why people churn, here are a couple of reasons and how to fix that. First reason is acquisition. Churn can be fixed at the sales phase. And let me be clear, here it's very simple. You need to say no! Stop selling to anyone, stop selling to everyone. If you sell to the wrong customer in the beginning of the process, it is very likely that these people are gonna leave. Don't take their money in the first place, right? Plus, we're not even considering the cost of acquisition, which I'll mention later, but if you take the wrong people in, they'll leave and so you'll have churn. Now, focus on saying no. And how you do that, first you identify who's your ideal client and you make a clear checklist of, is that a good fit for my business? Can I bring value to this customer? And if you're not 100% sure you can, don't accept them. Saying no is a superpower that you need to practice. We've dealt with the acquisition. So you've identified the right client. You've said yes. You need to onboard them properly. The onboarding phase is essential. Why? Because you want to make sure that they don't sign and get into your product or service, and then in the first 7 days, that's the best way to lose them. And one of the most common mistake I see is that people pull on the automations or the AI or any kind of automatic leverage, and that's a terrible thing, especially if you have a small business or if it's your first 100 or 200 customers. You really want to do one thing. Do things that don't scale and provide maximum care. So forget that email sequence automated that you wrote with ChatGPT or something like that. Think about maximum care and maximum emotional connection. You want to introduce yourself as the CEO, reaching out to your users one by one and saying, hey, I'm the CEO of X. Thank you so much for subscribing to our product. Here's my personal Calendly link. Book a 15-minute with me so I can onboard you to the system, and I'll answer all your questions and give you the best experience possible. Welcome to the family. Like, this is the kind of thing that you want to do, right? It's super important. The 7 days are essential. At the beginning of Facebook, they found out that if in the first 10 days, a new user made about 7 connections, they were more likely to stay on the platform. So that's about the same thing. You want to build something real quick. Another example is those credit cards. Look at those credit cards. They always have, especially the ones that have point system. Sorry, they give you a lot of point if you use the card in the first X amount of days, because they want you to jump into the service and start building the habit of using it, making it a ritual. That's very, very important. So trying to find a way to connect with your clients, with your users as fast as possible. Do things that don't scale, give them maximum care, and make sure you onboard them properly. You're there with them in the first days so they get the best welcome and they feel super happy to be part of your ecosystem and enjoying your product and service. Now, the other thing I see a lot is feature misalignment. Classic thing is you attract the right people, but then you give them the wrong features, or you give them features that bring no value, that don't really solve the pain. So you qualify them, you said no to a lot of people, but you said yes to these ones. You got them onto your product or service, and the onboarding was perfect, 7 days. But then after 10 days, they look at your features and they're like, it's not bringing value to me. You're not really solving their problem, or you're not solving it deep enough so that they see the value of your stuff. They really want to be hooked. And this is the one thing that you need to fix on your product so that people stay. And here the rule of thumb is quality over quantity. You don't want to have a mountain of features. You want a couple of key features that do the work. Keep in mind one thing: when the first iPhone was released, it didn't have the App Store. It didn't even have copy paste, but it brought so much value with its 4 elements that Steve Jobs mentioned. It was
an iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator.
But those 3 features, yeah, because I had to double check, bring so much value that people are satisfied with that. So they don't need to go further. You're really solving the core problem that they have. Hey, by the way, if you're a first-time founder, SaaS or services, and you want a faster, clearer growth path, or you're just stuck, feel free to book a free 30-minute call. I'll put the link in the description, and the call is going to be with me, guaranteed. I may bring my teacup. Okay, the next aspect is the lack of engagement, or you can also call it the slow fade. So here, the thing is that you want fast feedback and build actually a fast feedback loop. So constantly monitoring the pulse of your users, monitoring the pulse of your customers. And so a cool thing with that is reaching out to them, sending them messages, and try to get on calls with them, like 15-minute calls, like just a 10 to 15-minute calls. I do that with every single one of my clients, and they're always surprised because their clients often positively reply and jump on a call and really happy to share feedback and see what we can do for them to make it even better. So really don't hesitate on reaching out to your users often and checking the pulse. And sometimes it's just like sending them 1 or 2 questions. The other thing you can do is throwing out an NPS survey, Net Promoter Score. If you want me to dive into this particular practice, let me know in the comments down below, but I'll definitely cover it in the future. But if you really want it soon, let me know. Now, here's the thing. The other thing that is super important is to align all of that with your North Star metric. If you're not familiar with the North Star metric, it's a strategic approach where you put your destination and then you sort of reverse engineers the things that you need to do to get there. And so what you want to do is get a bunch of metrics, performance metrics, objectives and key results, and KPIs, and make sure everything is aligned to where you want to go. But here's the thing, the classic mistake I see is that people are confusing KPIs with North Star metrics, or oftenly called OKRs. So let me give you a quick example. KPIs, key performance indicator, can be, for example, you monitoring a plane that is going from London to New York. And one of the KPI is the speed of the plane, right? And so you check the speed of the plane and the speed of the plane is right. So you think, okay, everything is going well. But your plane can go at the right speed, but to the wrong direction. And so you're actually taking your business in the wrong place.
God, please, no! No!
That's why you need a North Star and something called OKRs, objectives and key results. So here's the difference between KPIs and OKRs. So like I said, KPIs, speed of the plane. Now OKRs in the same example would be the distance to destination. Go back to my same example. In the first case, we had the right speed, but we were heading to the wrong direction. Now with the OKRs, distance to destination, we may not have the right speed with the plane, so that KPI is a bit low, but our distance to destination is reducing progressively. So that still tells us that we're taking the business to the right direction. So it's super important to define 3 to 5 key objectives aligned with your North Star. So essentially, where do you want to take your business? And then come up with 3 to 5 objectives aligned with this destination. And then you can add a bunch of KPIs around that. So it's really, really important to get that as part of your business. Again, let me know if you're interested in knowing more about KPIs and especially OKRs in the North Star metric. I'll make a special video just for that. And the last but not least is building an ongoing community. This one can be very, very powerful. And here's the reason behind it. We may live in a world where we have access to internet, cars and planes and everything. So quite a modern world, but our brain doesn't operate like that. Our brain still operates as if we were living naked in the jungle. Our brain is designed to make us survive at all costs. And one of the major risks that our brain is really good at identifying is if we get kicked out of the tribe. Because being kicked out of the tribe means facing the lion alone. So that's why you'll always see that anything that sort of ostracizes you, like puts you aside of the society or aside of the group or aside of the class or aside of the company, is kind of hard to take. And you can leverage that the other way around. So getting people into the community, because their brain will think, okay, if I get into the community, I won't have to face the lion alone. So I want to stay with the community. And so it's super powerful to have a community, because now people are not just staying for your product or service, they're also staying for the community. That's a super great anchor. Building a community can be super, super powerful to sort of solidify the bond between your customers, but also between you and your customers and between your customers and your product. So think, how can I build a community? How can I sort of nurture this community to make it stick? If you're a first-time founder, SaaS or services, and you're stuck or overwhelmed because you have to deal with all the aspects of the business, the marketing, the product, the talking to the users, the churn, the content, you want a way out to gain clarity, structure, and grow, I work with founders like you to simplify, clarify, and go to the essentials so that you can build things people love and that sticks without the need of hiring dozens of people. You should be able to run a 5, 10, or 15K a month business all by yourself if you're doing the right thing and if you're getting rid of all the distractions that usually just put burden into what you're doing. Just like I helped this client go from $4,000 a month to $14,000 a month by fixing the acquisition and onboarding process to stop losing customers. Or this other client who signed a $4,000 a month deal with a client because we built the right feature that brings maximum value to their clients, to their users. If that sounds like what you need, you know the drill. There's a link in the description down below, a 30-minute call with me for free, and we'll figure out where you're stuck, where you want to go, and how can we design the best path to take you to that particular destination as fast as possible, as lean as possible. So go book this call right now, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, boom.